You guys should probably get some cash together. I'll go get it, and you can also buy me tickets. It's more likely that lightning will strike you. It wasn't always about making deals in Corey Harrison's life. Everything changed when he fell so quickly. He seemed bound from a young age to run the family pawn shop. His father and grandfather taught him the business. A lot of people thought he had everything when they watched him on Pawn Stars, but they didn't see the chaos going on behind the scenes. What really happened to the guy that shop fans thought would take over the business? Watch, because the truth is so shocking that it's the real reason the TV show was taken off the air. There was almost no pawn shop there. There is a long history behind the gold and silver pawn shop. It was famous before reality TV made it a tourist spot. It all began in the early 1980s when Corey's grandfather, who was known as the Old Man, opened a small used goods store. His little shop on Las Vegas Boulevard would become famous all over the world, but he had no idea it would. Rick Harrison, Corey's dad, worked day and night to keep the family business going and to take back cars that people owed money on. But things don't always go as planned in Las Vegas. It seemed like the Harrisons had things under control until a sudden business problem caused them to move. Before we go any further, it's clear that Harrison's problems were a lot worse than anyone thought. And what happened next would shake their family and business to their core. After reading this rule, I thought, see, that's got to be close to that now for the city proper there. I began calling the city's guardian once a week. They don't think many people know how hard it was to get their pawn license. It was almost impossible to open a new pawn shop because of a city rule from the 1950s. To get a pass, you had to wait until a certain number of people lived in the city. For weeks, Rick Harrison called city officials over and over again, waiting for the magic number to be called. Finally, in 1989, the Gold and Silver Swap Shop opened its doors to the public. What began as a small, failing business quickly grew into a huge financial success, with loans worth millions of dollars and interest income of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. With money came fame, but it also brought its fair share of stress. Things changed for the Harrisons when they watched reality TV. Collectors already knew about the shop by the middle of the 2000s, but it was a pitch for a TV show that really sent it through the roof. Rick tried for years and years to get a show about their shop on the air, but he kept getting turned down. The History Channel finally took a chance in 2009 and made Pawn Stars. The show made the Harrisons famous out overnight, but one family member was hit hard by the fame in a way that no one saw coming. The cameras caught him making deals and making jokes, but his real life was a lot messier. He had personal problems that no one could see on TV. When she was in the news, her health got worse, she gained weight, and her relationships fell apart. He spent all of his time at the pawn shop, not just for work, and it wasn't easy to carry the weight of a family heritage. Fame and money brought a lot of good things. There wasn't much I knew about this place when I started working the night shift, and like most 18-year-olds, I thought I knew everything. It must have spread quickly because I bought 6 fake Rolexes. But they also brought stress, demands, and attention from the public. He worked hard to keep up, but cracks began to show. It became clear that not everything could be kept secret. One of the first things he fought was his weight. Growing up in a home where everyone worked meant that I didn't pay much attention to my health and ate poorly. But when his weight got too high and was putting his health at risk, he made the hard choice to have surgery to lose weight. His life changed totally when he lost over 100 pounds, but it wasn't easy. Even though he looked better on the outside, he was still having problems inside. Losing weight didn't make the stress, pressure, and personal problems that came with being a TV star go away. Then there were his ups and downs with money. The money that comes your way as a reality TV star goes away just as quickly. The pawn shop made a lot of money, but living in Las Vegas with all the high rollers and expensive temptations meant that money problems were just around the corner. There was a constant battle between success and stability, and business choices, personal investments, and even friendships all played a part. His goal wasn't just to keep up with the family business. His goal was to show that he could handle the duty even though the odds were against him. Also, don't forget about the hurt relationships. Fame can be hard on relationships, and his was no different. There were cracks that couldn't be ignored because of the stress of TV life, business needs, and personal problems. It became clear that being famous wasn't just about making deals on rare items when he got divorced and had relationship problems. How to get around in a world where every mistake was seen more clearly. He kept going through it all. He wasn't going to let the past bring him down. He still spent most of his time at the pawn shop, but he learned how to plan his future. He showed that even the hardest battles could be won in one, whether it was by making better business decisions, putting his health first, or just learning from his mistakes. What will happen to him now, though? Things went wrong just when running the pawn shop was getting tough. It became a TV show, which was a huge hit but also caused even bigger troubles. It was the show that changed a family for good. In 2008, no one in Las Vegas thought that a small pawn shop would become one of the most popular reality shows of all time. But Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines knew they had something special when they thought of bringing cameras inside. Rick Harrison, who has always been good at business, jumped at the chance, even though HBO wanted a totally different style. A real late-night confession show. That idea never caught on, but in 2009, a YouTube movie really got things moving. Nancy Dubuque from the History Channel saw a clip of him dealing with an angry customer and wanted to know more. That was the start of Pawn Stars. The show quickly became a hit after some changes were made to the formula, such as adding experts and making sure that each staff member had their own style. The name of the show was changed from Pawn and History to something more catchy, and the rest is TV gold. People all over the world knew Rick, his father Richard Old Man Harrison, his son Corey Big Hoss, and their childhood friend Austin Chumley Russell. By 2010, the show had a huge following, and Rick was even named Pawn Dealer of the Year. By the following year, it was the second most popular show on the History Channel after The Chaos on Jersey Shore. Let's be honest, it wasn't just a show about old things being bought and sold. You just sit here and talk to me. I'm supposed to take this over, but every time I do, you got something else to take. The answer is yes when you make a bad choice. Is that really the case? It was a great place for theater, a never-ending fight between old school and new school ways of running things, family feuds, and business disagreements kept people glued to their screens. The son who was supposed to take over the company and his dad always had disagreements about how things should be done. Rick, who was always a careful businessman, didn't always agree with his plans to bring the shop up to date, take risks, and reach more people. Plus, Chumley was there to make things fun by making bad deals and still keeping his job. But there was trouble going on behind the scenes of reality TV. Fame and money brought problems, which brought more attention. The businessman who used to be very bright had some crazy times. Things changed when he and his biker friends went to Jefferson City in 2014 for what was meant to be a simple stop at a bar. It started out as a fun night, but it turned into a famous disaster. Already having a great time, he too, whole new level that no one saw coming. People in the bar knew danger was coming as soon as he walked in. People started drinking and taking shots, and before anyone could do anything, things got out of hand. At work, I need a little push every once in a while. So I have this head of a person in Tanya Harvey. There was no need for a picture of your mother. He wasn't just loud, he was a mess all the time. Missouri's Show Me State got more than they expected when he started showing himself in public, which shocked many people. Things got worse after that. When security was called, fights started, and all of a sudden the night turned into a complete mess. His pranks got around like wildfire, and by morning they were all over the news. Not for the first time had he been in the news for the wrong reasons. He had everything thanks to fame, money, praise, and the chance to take over a great business, but it also made him feel unbeatable, which made him make careless choices. His love of going to parties, riding fast bikes, and doing dangerous things started to take away from his job at the pawn shop. Fans who used to admire how good he was at business now saw him as a problem. Rick's main goal was always to keep the business safe. He had to make some hard choices about the future of his son. The show kept going at the same time. The show Pawn Stars was still making a lot of money, with millions coming in from ads, merchandise, and possible spin-offs. But behind the scenes, there were break-ins. Even Chumley, who was also a fan favorite, got into trouble. His run-ins with the law made the news, which made people wonder how much of the show was real and how much was edited to hide the real drama. Pawn Stars were having a great time, but fans who paid attention could see that it might not last forever. They became famous because of the cameras, but behind the scenes, fame was hard. It hurt their family, their friendships, and their business. When a company becomes a brand, the shop stopped being a pawn shop and more of a tourist attraction over the years. No one was coming in to sell their things anymore. It was just to take selfies with the group. It stopped being about business and more about making TV scenes. It became clear to experienced fans that things that used to seem real were actually staged. Rick was always good at business, so he took advantage of the shop's fame by adding gift shops and making it a full-fledged brand. But the question hung over every season. How long could they keep going like this? It was too late when his personal problems caught up with him. Too many people had bad things said about him. Then Rick tried to make sure everything went well. It was impossible to ignore the drama going on off-screen. Fans still watched, but it wasn't as fun as it used to be. Once the show's heart, the family dynamic felt worn out. There were signs that Pawn Stars wasn't the same anymore, like Chumlee's legal problems, reckless behavior in the family, and Rick's growing anger. Even with all the problems, the show didn't go away all of a sudden. The money was too good, the brand was too well known, and the fans were too loyal. However, it was clear that the foundation had cracks. The empire was no longer controlled by the person who was about to seize power. More people read about Chumlee's antics than his jokes on TV. Rick, the person who made it all possible, had to accept that nothing lasts forever. You thought this was embarrassing because Corey Harrison didn't end there. He didn't just make things more crazy, he turned what should have been a normal night at the bar into something off-putting. It was already embarrassing when he dropped his pants, but he made things even worse by going to the bathroom on a bar stool, as if that was a big deal. Not only was that a mess, but a poor worker had to clean it up with just a towel, and the night wasn't even close to being over yet. As if things couldn't get any worse, he stood for pictures with fans while still being naked. If that wasn't reckless enough, he then grabbed a bar stool and hurled it across the place, making sure his night ended with him being tossed out of the bar for good. When the story hit the public, it wasn't just the bar owners who were angry. Social media exploded with reaction. Unfortunately, none of the Playboys were worth any money. Most of them were in really bad shape, and there wasn't a prize in the bunch. All right, Peaches, I'll take care of you. Thanks for coming in. And the flood of negative messages was relentless. Facing immense criticism, he had no choice but to openly apologize, admitting that this was not his finest moment and that he deeply regretted his actions. I mean, here's the thing. This wasn't just some random, isolated event. This was just another wild chapter in a life full of reckless choices and public stumbles. That same year, he nearly escaped what could have been a life-ending motorcycle accident. While on a simple supply run for his own birthday party, his bike suddenly spun out of control due to a broken fender mount. Forced to make a split-second choice, he threw himself off the bike to avoid an even bigger disaster. Instead of going straight to the hospital, he went right back to the party as if nothing had happened. He finally went to the hospital later and had surgery to fix his broken hand with 8 screws and 2 metal plates. Additionally, if you believe that was his only close call, you are wrong. His problems were not limited to those outside of his family. He didn't have any trouble making trouble at home either. He worked at the family pawn shop with his father, Rick Harrison, and his grandfather, but he wasn't happy just being an employee. He was not scared to ask for a bigger share of the business. In the past, he gave his father and grandfather an ultimatum. He had to get a piece of the business or leave. His brave move was even shown on season 7 of the show, where he refused to give up his 10% share of the business. No matter how tense it got, he didn't get everything he wanted. He wanted 10%, but he was only offered 5%, and promised to ask for a bigger share in the future. Even though he didn't get everything he wanted, the deal was still a win. It became clear that he was worth a lot of money. This shows that family drama can be useful sometimes. He kept making the news for the wrong reasons, though, even after he was set in his business. More and more people went to the shop just to look at the stars, which shows that mistakes don't just go away. When people's problems make the news, now it was 2021 and he was in yet another mess. He rented an RV for a simple vacation in the California desert this time. It seemed safe, right? Not quite, though. Bad things happened when he didn't return the RV on time. It was in such a bad shape when it finally got back that the owner was shocked. The car was not only late, it was totally messed up. There were more than just a few scratches on the panel. The RV's awning was completely ripped off. Within, it seemed like a mess. It was even stranger because there were eggs all over the place. The business owner thought it would cost more than $30,000 to fix the damage. Even worse, he had to cancel 10 appointments because the car wasn't working at all. Corey reportedly refused to pay for the damage and instead blamed someone else. This made the owner call the police. Not only has Corey's personal and business life been crazy, but so has his love life. He's not had the best luck with relationships, just like his father. His first marriage to Charlene, the girl he fell in love with in high school, looked good at first. It was 2009 when they got married. Things had gone wrong by 2015, though. Officially, there was no reason given for the breakup, but many people think that Corey's busy schedule and love of partying were big reasons why they broke up. He seemingly was ready to move on, but he decided to try marriage again. After getting married to Karina in 2017, the marriage didn't last long either. Though they were only married for a year, they didn't seem to end badly. They had a hard time already because Karina was pregnant during the split. She later gave birth to their son, Richard Benjamin Harrison. He lost all of his money in 1981. Our plans to move to the land of milk and honey all of a sudden changed.